Hey everybody, it's Joe from greenlightsound.com, and today we've got another tip courtesy of Andy Wallace, but used by a lot of mixing engineers, and this is the way we can shape a snare and kick sound using the gate on an SSL style channel strip. We'll start with the UA version of it first. Here's the kick drum by itself, the plugin's bypassed. So decent kick sound, but we can adjust it a bit. Basically what we're going to do is engage the gate to use the release time right here to shape how the tail of the sound is either held out or not by cutting off the tail a bit. And then a combination of the fast attack button right down here and the threshold knob up here to get a little kind of artificial pop at the beginning of the sound when the transient kind of gets through that gate. And it's kind of a quirk of the SSL style channel strips that you get this little pop if you set the gate just right. It kind of increases that attack of the transient. The first thing we want to do though is shape the tail. So you're going to see me move this release faster and faster down to the left, and you can hear that tail getting reduced, shorter and shorter. So if you've got a kick and that low energy that's really held out is interfering with other elements in the mix, or if it's interfering with the bass maybe, or you just don't like the tone of it, you can cut it down by adjusting that release knob. And then the other trick comes here where we're going to set this fast attack on, and I'm going to move this threshold. And as I raise the threshold for the gate, I'm going to hit a certain point where I get this sort of click at the beginning of the sound. Listen for it. I'm going to bring the release up a little bit for a more natural sustain. Here it is again without. And back in. I'll bypass it on and off as it plays using this dynamics in button down here. And that little snap at the beginning can really help that snare cut through a mix. If I push the threshold even higher, you get even more exaggerated little pop at the beginning of the sound. You don't need a Universal Audio SSL channel strip to do this. You can do it with this one from Plugin Alliance, the BX Console SSL 4000E, another great SSL emulation. I've got the gate set up pretty much the same way. This has the fast attack right here. I moved the threshold until I heard that click. Here it is engaged. And just to refresh our memory, here it is without. And back. There we go. Kind of that same effect of that little pop at the beginning of the sound. Now we're going to take a look at the IK Multimedia T-Rex British channel, another SSL E-Series style channel strip, and I did the same thing. I set that gate, very similar fashion. Looks a little bit different of a layout here, but it's a similar controls. And I got that same attack pop. Without and with it. And if I push the threshold again, I can get a little more click out of it. It's a bit artificial sounding, but gives that punch at the beginning of the note that can help that kick cut through without using EQ on the top end of the kick. Now, one SSL style strip that I can't get this to work that well with is the Waves version of the E channel. For some reason, I can't adjust that threshold, even with that fast attack, to get quite the same pop. I'll move it. I'll start with it here. As I move that threshold higher and higher, we're going to listen for that pop, but you're not going to get quite the same result. pretty much no matter where I set it, I can't get that effect to happen. It operates more like a traditional gate would, where you just kind of lose the transient at the beginning of the kick sound, but we don't hear that artificial pop. It's a shame because the Waves SSL strip is pretty good. I like the compressor section in this thing, but the gate doesn't work in quite the same way as the other SSL emulations that I'm using, and the real SSL desk, which does have this pop effect to it. Now we can do the same thing with Snare Drum. I'm back to the Universal Audio SSL channel strip. And in this case, I do exactly the same thing. I set the fast attack, I set the range to what I want for how much gain reduction in between hits I get, and then I adjust the threshold until I get that snap. Here is the Snare Drum without the channel strip engaged. And the gate's in now. I'll bring the release up a little bit more and then bring it down. It's not as obvious as the other one. I'll turn it on and off with this button down here again, starting with it off. You still get a slight pop at the beginning of the note, but it works a lot better on kick in this particular example. Some snares it works great on. This one doesn't seem to quite need it anyway. So there it is, a way we can use the SSL channel strip, the gate, to shape the end, the tail of a kick and snare, or that getting that little artificial pop at the beginning of that kick sound, and sometimes the snare sound as well. Another great tip, courtesy of Andy Wallace. If you have any questions or comments, let me know in the comment section down below. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't done so already, so we can keep you in the loop as to what's coming up next, and I'll see you in the next one.